plague spared him, then he vanished. The year is 1349. Death, a black-winged angel, has descended upon Europe, leaving weeping and empty villages in its wake. We find ourselves within the stone walls of the Abbey of Saint Benoit-sur-Loire, a beacon of prayer and learning amidst the encroaching darkness. But even here, the pestilence has found its way. Monks, once strong and devout, now cough blood and succumb to the agonizing fever. Yet, amidst this dance macabre, one figure stands untouched. Brother Jean, a young, unassuming monk known more for his quiet diligence than any exceptional piety. He tends to the sick, buries the dead, seemingly immune to the contagion that decimates his brothers. Some whisper of divine favor, others of a pact with darker forces. But then, as abruptly as the plague began to wane, Brother Jean disappears. No farewell, no trace, just an empty cell and a growing unease that settles upon the surviving monks. An unease deeper than even the fear of the Black Death itself. The disappearance of Brother Jean throws the already fractured Abbey into further turmoil. Abbot Mitchell, a man burdened by grief and responsibility, initiates a desperate search. Had Brother Jean fled, fearing a delayed onset of the plague, or perhaps consumed by survivor's guilt, he sought penance elsewhere. The remaining monks offer conflicting accounts. Some claim Brother Jean spoke of unsettling dreams, visions of shadowy figures and whispering voices. Others recall his unusual interest in the Abbey's ancient library, particularly its forbidden section containing texts on alchemy and the occult. Suspicion begins to fester, whispering through the dimly lit corridors. Was Brother Jean truly blessed, or did his immunity stem from something far more sinister? The investigation stalls, hampered by fear, superstition, and the ever-present shadow of the plague. Yet, one peculiar detail emerges, a missing page from a rare grimoire detailing rituals for warding off disease, rituals that require a sacrifice. The investigation takes a dark turn when a hidden chamber is discovered beneath the Abbey's chapel. Concealed behind a crumbling fresco, the room is filled with strange symbols etched into the stone floor and the lingering scent of sulfur. More disturbingly, the skeletal remains of a young animal lie upon a makeshift altar, alongside a silver chalice that was recently held in the Abbey's vault. The missing page from the grimoire seems to confirm the worst fears. Brother Jean was not a pious healer, but a practitioner of dark arts, exploiting the plague for his own twisted purposes. But then, a local village girl recounts a startling tale. She claims to have seen Brother Jean secretly meeting with a band of traveling flagellants, zealots who believed that self-flagellation could ward off the plague. She saw him handing them something wrapped in cloth. Could he have been seeking a cure for the outside world, or supplying them with something much more sinister? The plot thickens as whispers emerge of a heretical sect operating in the region, rumored to possess ancient knowledge of plague manipulation. The flagellants, known for their extreme views and violent tendencies, are now prime suspects. Abbot Mitchell, desperate to clear the Abbey's name, dispatches a small group of monks to track down the wandering fanatics. Meanwhile, back at the Abbey, a previously overlooked passage in Brother Jean's personal journal comes to light. It speaks not of dark rituals, but of his desperate attempts to create a vaccine from the blood of plague victims. A radical, almost unthinkable concept for the time. The journal hints at a clandestine benefactor, someone who supplied Brother Jean with rare ingredients and forbidden knowledge. This benefactor's identity is only hinted at through coded references. Was Brother Jean a mad scientist, driven by a desperate desire to save lives? Or was he a pawn in a much larger game, manipulated by forces beyond his comprehension? The abbot is faced with the dawning possibility that he may have damned an innocent man. The traveling monks return with grim news. The flagellants are dead, decimated not by the plague, but by violence, victims of infighting. Or perhaps something more calculated. Among their meager possessions, they find a small vial containing a strange, murky liquid and a letter addressed to Brother Jean, signed with the symbol of a prominent noble family known for their alchemical pursuits. The truth finally surfaces, bitter and ironic. Brother Jean was indeed trying to create a cure, funded by the ambitious Lord Guillaume, who saw an opportunity to profit from a plague vaccine. But when word reached the Lord that the vial was potent enough to cure people, he wanted it all, and silence around his involvement. The flagellants were paid assassins to retrieve the formula and silence Brother Jean, but the desperate monk had foreseen the betrayal and hidden the true formula within the abbey walls, escaping into the chaos to protect his discovery. He disappeared not as a heretic, but as a fugitive, leaving behind a legacy of scientific ambition, political intrigue, and a cure lost to time.